This teacup isn't just porcelain. It's the morning tea Margaret shared with her husband for 40 years. Now that she's on her own, she sometimes looks at the chips on the rim and feels a pang of sadness. But in the Japanese philosophy of Mottainai, those chips aren't failures. They are evidence of a life fully lived. And somewhere across town there is Dorothy. Dorothy keeps a small blue jug on her windowsill. Her late daughter painted it in art class at the age of 9. It has never once held flowers. Dorothy has always been afraid to use it, afraid that somehow using it would make it less. But Mottainai says the opposite is true. To leave something unused is the real loss. Hello, my dear friends at Silver Life Hacks 65+. Today we aren't just cleaning. We are practicing the art of honoring. Mottainai isn't just about not wasting. It's about the regret we feel when we don't treat our belongings with the respect they deserve. It is a philosophy that says, every object has a soul, and every soul deserves a witness. You are that witness. Let's look at 5 steps and the beautiful women behind them to transform your home into a sanctuary of gratitude. Step 1, the Gokurosama acknowledgement. The first step is simply acknowledging. When Margaret cleans her kitchen now, she doesn't rush. She touches her pots and pans and says a silent Gokurosama. Thank you for your hard work. There is a cast iron skillet that Margaret's mother brought from her own kitchen decades ago. It is heavy and blackened and deeply, deeply loved. Every time Margaret lifts it, she feels the weight of 2 lifetimes in her hands. She no longer sees cleaning as a chore. She sees it as a conversation. And then there is Ruth. Ruth is 81 and lives alone in a small flat in the city. She has a kettle she has boiled water in every single morning for 22 years. One morning, she said good morning to it out loud and then laughed at herself. But the strange thing was, she felt better all day. Acknowledgement, it turns out, is not silly. It is sacred. As you tidy, take 3 seconds to hold an object. If it has served you well, let that feeling of gratitude settle. You don't have to say anything out loud, though you can. Just feel it. It turns a chore into a moment of peace. Step 2, Eleanor's linens, repurposing with purpose. Then there's Eleanor. She had a closet full of beautiful linens that she saved for special occasions that never came. In the spirit of Mottainai, she realized that letting them sit in the dark was the real waste. But Eleanor is not alone in this. There is also Vivienne. Vivienne is 74. A retired school teacher with a drawer full of fine lace handkerchiefs her mother brought from Portugal. They have never once touched a tear. They have never once touched a nose. They have simply waited, folded in tissue paper, for a party that never arrived. When Vivienne finally spread one open on her breakfast tray, something shifted in her chest. She said it felt like permission. Permission to be worthy of her own beautiful things. Permission to make Tuesday a special occasion. That is what Mottainai gives us. Not a system for organizing, a system for living. Don't let your good things wait for a future that's already here. If a tablecloth is too large for your smaller table now, fold it into a runner. Use the silver. Wear the silk scarf. Place the lace handkerchief on your morning tray. Honoring an item means letting it be part of your life today. Step 3, the one in, one out gratitude. Mottainai teaches us that we are guardians of our things. To keep your space peaceful, adopt the one in, one out rule. When a new book enters your home, choose an old one to pass on to a neighbor or a local library. You aren't getting rid of it. You are allowing it to continue its journey and bring joy to someone else. Constance understood this beautifully. Constance is 78 and has spent her life collecting cookbooks. Her shelves were bowing under the weight of them, but she couldn't bear to let them go. Each one held a memory, a trip, a person, a kitchen she had once stood in. Then a neighbor's granddaughter mentioned she was learning to cook. Constance chose one cookbook, wrote a message inside the front cover, "May your kitchen always smell of something wonderful," and handed it over. She told me later, "I didn't lose a book. I started a story." And then there is Norma, 80 years old, who has taken to leaving a single paperback on the bench outside her building each week. She tucks a small note inside. "This book made me laugh. I hope it does the same for you." She has never met the people who take them, but she feels them. When something new comes in, send something onward with intention. Write a small note inside a book before you pass it along. Leave it on a bench, give it to a neighbor, donate it to your local library or care home. The object doesn't end, it travels. Step 4, mending as mindfulness. Margaret found a loose thread on her favorite cardigan. Instead of seeing it as old, she spent 10 minutes mending it. In Japan, they sometimes use gold to fix broken pottery. It's called kintsugi. It makes the object more beautiful because it was broken and then cared for. The break becomes part of the beauty. The repair becomes the story. Sylvia knows this instinctively. Sylvia is 72 and was a seamstress for 30 years. Now retired, she keeps a small wicker sewing basket on her kitchen table, not in a drawer, not in a cupboard, but right there in the open, as a reminder that care is always close at hand. When her granddaughter came to visit with a tear in her coat hem, Sylvia sat down, threaded her needle, and they talked for an hour while she mended it. The coat was fixed in 10 minutes. The conversation lasted much longer. That is what mending does. It slows us down. It asks us to pay attention. And in paying attention to a thing, we remember why we loved it in the first place. And then there's Ada, 84, who mends with deliberately visible stitches. She uses bright colored thread, red on blue wool, yellow on gray linen. She calls her repairs little signatures. She says, I was here, and I cared enough to stay. Pick one small thing this week to fix. A loose button, a wobbly table leg, a fraying hem. Don't hide the repair, honor it. That act of care is a message to yourself that you and your surroundings are worth the effort. Finally, there comes a time to let go, but we don't throw away, we release. When Eleanor finally decided to part with her heavy oak desk, she placed her hand on it, remembered the letters she wrote there, and said, "Thank you for protecting my words." She felt light, not guilty. June had a different challenge. June is 69 and recently moved from the house where she raised 3 children into a smaller, sunnier flat closer to the sea. The house was full of 35 years of living. She had expected the clearing out to break her heart. Instead, she made it into a ritual. Each room she sat with for a while before she packed it. She touched the walls. She stood at the window where she had watched her children play. She said out loud what had happened in each room, the birthday parties, the arguments, the Sunday mornings, and then she whispered, "Thank you for holding all of this." She told me it was the most peaceful she had felt in years, not because she wasn't sad, she was, but because she had honored it properly before letting it go. And there is Patricia, 76, who wraps the items she passes on in tissue paper, even when they're going to a charity shop. She ties a small ribbon around each parcel and says, "I hope you find someone who needs you." Her daughter once asked her why she bothers, since no one will see it. But Patricia said, "I will know." If an object no longer fits your life, thank it for its service before it leaves your home. Hold it, say something, even silently. This simple act of closure removes the emotional weight of decluttering and replaces it with something lighter: gratitude. Our homes are the shells of our souls. By practicing Mottainai, we stop fighting the mess and start honoring the history. Whether you are a Margaret or an Eleanor, a Vivian or a Ruth, a Sylvia, a Constance, a June, a Patricia, or an Ada, remember that your space is a reflection of the beautiful life you've built. Every chipped teacup, every mended cardigan, every cookbook with a handwritten note inside. These are not signs of wear. They are signs of presence. They are signs that you were here, that you loved, that you used your things and let them serve their purpose fully. That is not ordinary. That is extraordinary. And it is worth celebrating every single day. Which story resonated with you most? Do you have a Margaret's teacup, a Vivian's handkerchief, an Ada's little signature in bright thread? Do you have an object in your home that deserves a thank you today? Share it in the comments. I read every single one, and I treasure every word. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Silver Life Hacks 65+ for more ways to find peace in your golden years. Until next time, live delicately.